It is the Baking It Down podcast with Sugar Cookie Marketing, actually coming out on a Tuesday.
On a Tuesday. We are going to go see Top Gun again today.
This would be my third time. Little Easter egg fact for you Tom Cruise fans out there. When in the second movie, Hangman goes to type in the name of the song in the record player, he types in the numbers 86, which was when the original movie came out in 1986.
We'll be watching.
Stay tuned for more Tom Cruise facts.
Well, welcome to the Baking It Down podcast, and we are a spinoff from a group on Facebook called Sugar Cookie Marketing Group.
By Tom Cruise.
Sponsored by Tom. Just kidding. Tell them what they're in for.
On the podcast, basically, Corrie had an idea. She said, everyone likes to listen to murder podcasts. What if we murder each other on a podcast? Just kidding. I'm probably going to get in trouble with something. But what we want to talk about is kind of the aspects of marketing as it correlates to baking businesses, whether at home, whether brick and mortar, whether cookies or cakes. Mm-hmm. The concepts of marketing are pretty pervasive, which is the amazing reason that I don't know how to bake, but I can still teach you how to sell.
Yes.
I've been in marketing and websites and online stuff for over a decade, which sounds
I think you're
old.
going to actually have to roll that up because you'd been saying over a decade for over a decade.
Oh, I'm not saying over 2 decades. You're not a young blood. I'd rather die than tell you over 2 decades. But we've been doing marketing for a while, and then Corrie and I have started a company about what?
8.
No, it's
I looked it up, man.
2018.
No, man.
I just did the paper.
No, man.
I just looked at the paper.
No,
I
because
just
me
did
and
the annual
you
registration.
did it on the DL, the down low for
but the legal entity is 2018.
Don't be us.
So in this podcast, what we talk about is the very things that we do: selling online, marketing more effectively, client communications, how to get the most money for the least amount of work, which sounds like a selfish thing to do, but it's actually great business.
It's just being more efficient. So you're doing the same quality, the same things, but you're doing it a lot more efficiently. Mm-hmm. Not wasting your time, not throwing the keyboard through the window, things like that.
I still do that. But so in today's podcast, we're going to jump right into it. The breakdown of this podcast starts with where we kind of talk about an aspect of marketing we think that pertains to you and that Facebook group Corrie mentioned earlier. After that, we'll kind of dive into a course that we have called the Cookie College, just a little teaser temptation for you if you're thinking about joining. And then we'll talk about group stuff. If anybody called or texted in, I'll check while we're live.
You better call.
If you didn't, I'm going to make it up. And after that, we'll go through our sponsors. If Corrie has anything interesting that she spent her money on, I'm sure she'll let us know. And that should wrap us up because I ain't seen no mailbag stuff.
Oh, I haven't been. But I'm going.
I haven't got any package notifications.
Oh, see. Heather gets a notification that tells me, like...
Actually, Corrie never checks the mail. So when I have the notification from UPS that the package has arrived, I have it auto-forward to Corrie.
But 3 weeks in a row, it was checked. Just, I'll have everyone know.
It was a good run. It was the end of the run, but it was a good run.
What we wanted to talk about on the podcast today is something that I've seen in the group. No, it honestly is the truest and most raw feeling, and I'm not discrediting anyone for it.
I think it's a great question to ask. I'm overwhelmed. Where do I start? There's so much stuff the twins talk about in the podcast that I see in the Facebook groups. Bro nuts. Yeah. Where do you start? What do you do? Do you do it all? Do you do it none of it, and then you feel bad about yourself?
The thing is, I feel bad because people want podcasts typically go out each week. That's the standard practice.
Don't tempt us. We can go out each month if you guys.
If you want it once a month, let me know. But podcasts air each week, and plus anything that goes on the group, there's multiple, probably over 50 posts per day in the groups. That's a lot of content to consume, and that's a lot of ways that you can feel maybe inadequate because you're not doing absolutely everything that everyone else is doing, and that's what we don't want. I've never gotten up and been like, I want to make people feel bad.
I do every morning.
You say I want to make Corrie feel bad.
So Corrie brings up a great point. There is constantly a barrage of new marketing information thrown at you every day. And the thing is, you're also trying to run a business, and you literally at some point have to bake, unfortunately.
Sleep sometime, maybe.
What? There's kids you have? Do they go to school on September 1st? Nobody knows. So what do you do when you're approached with so much information and so many tips and tricks, and you see the group, like people are selling bronuts, I'm leaving money on the table by not even offering this. RD egging, I missed that in Easter. Mm-hmm. The gingerbread house, Heather Brookshire's teaching on
Target crates. I never got it.
The Target crates still cause PTSD for a lot of people. I saw somebody found a stash in a yard sale and got them for next to nothing.
So I said that was one cook here bestowing it on another cook here.
Yeah, that was a past SEMer saying not.
Someone in the comments says, "Are you at Corrie's house?" Rude.
So what the approach is, and you'll hear me say this always, is to come up with a goal and focus on that goal. If it supports your goal, do it. If it doesn't exist until it becomes a part of a future goal.
And don't just think this is my goal. Write it down. A lot of times we are wishy-washy when we make things up in our minds, but if you have a goal that's written down,
Did you wishy-washy your hair this morning?
Doesn't it look great? It looks so good. Oh, yeah.
So, I know people get a little eye rolling when I mention this one book, but it's only a 2-hour long audiobook.
It's
and I
me.
really
I'm
like
eye rolling.
It is called Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy. Eat that frog, meaning every day you sit down. I think it was a Mark Twain quote. He says, when's the best time to eat a frog? At first thing in the morning, because then you don't have to think about it for the rest of the day. So when you sit down and go through that Brian Tracy book, he says the frog has to support the goal that moves you forward the most. So what he has to do is sit down and write 10 goals, but as if it happened. So in 1 year from now, I'm a homeowner. In 1 year from now, I have a brick and mortar store. In 1 year. And then he says, of those 10 goals, which one will move your life forward the most? The other 9 no longer exist. Now, every day that you sit down to eat that frog, you're eating a frog that supports that one goal that moves your life forward the most. So when you see a barrage of marketing tactics, today Instagram allows you to pin posts and reels.
I know,
which
guys.
Is an interesting feature.
And someone said, I shouldn't be interrupting you, but I'm going to. Someone was like, I'm not really on TikTok. It's definitely a TikTok feature that's been there. It's a great thing. You could do a reel because reels are big now. Introducing yourself and what you make and then pin that to the top. It's almost directing traffic. I love on TikTok to go to someone's pin post. Like if they talk about a story, they usually pin the beginning part of the story so you can follow along that way.
So like I said, back to being overwhelmed with marketing instructions. What you got to do is you got to sit down and find a goal that is unique to you. Now, what's not going to happen is that the Sugar Cookie Marketing Group won't continue still throwing great tips and tricks your way. But what you need to do is be your own personal filter. What is it that I'm focusing on? I am not focusing on bro nuts, so bro nuts do not exist to me. When I see the word bro nut, I go nuts. You just kind of have to screen it out. And, if you're saying, hey, I want to get organized with my financials, well, Ben B is teaching a Facebook Live on Thursday. That's when you're going to take. What you're not going to take is the next Facebook Live on gingerbread houses if it doesn't support your goals. Unfortunately, we can't filter that out. Our job is to get you guys the content. Now, It's your job on your personal docket to be like, yeah, that one doesn't pass the frog test. I'm only going to take in the next 30 days or the next 6 months, things that support this overwhelming goal that will move my business, my life, my family forward.
The great thing that you can use, and I actually use it a ton, is I have my goals. Bro nuts is not on the list. Do I eventually want to make a bro nut? Yes. So what I'll do is I'll go to the 3 dots on the Facebook post about bro nuts and marketing them, and I'll save it to one of the folders. You can create a little folder and only you can see it, and it'll be like marketing for later. And I'll save that for later so I don't necessarily forget and I don't have to go search for it. But it's in my back pocket, and that's okay to have things in your back pocket because as you accomplish goals, you'll create new goals. Maybe bro nuts is on the new goal list, and then you can go back, find those posts easily. So you're not feeling like you're missing out. The posts are waiting for you.
FOMO is a dangerous one. And FOMO, when a goal isn't directing you, is everywhere. So my goal would be to purchase a house at the beginning of next year. Finally, thanks COVID. Appreciate it. Thanks for playing. Then it's easy for me to say, oh, that event or that trip, I'm not going to take it because I have this goal that requires financial income. I can't, you're not allowed to buy anything if you're applying for a mortgage
Apparently,
or something.
no,
I've heard.
you
Like
can
food is
barely
off the
breathe,
table. Food on the table? No, we're taking it off the table. So when I have a goal directing my thing, it really allows me to channel my focus, and then I can eliminate to some extent the fear of missing out because I'm not missing out on that. If I do that, I'll actually be missing out on my overarching goal. So when it comes to marketing, even down to picking out the holidays you truly want to invest in, you can really focus your thing. Because I see a lot of people saying, I got so busy with XYZ. Now we have Father's Day coming up. I have nothing ready. And then they just scatterbrained, stressed, unfocused, and fear of missing out prevails. What you can do to eliminate that is say, hey, I'm not going to do Father's Day this year. I'm going to do whatever the next holidays. I think it's school related.
No, July 4th. You have no children.
July 4th. I am in America. I guess I should have known that one. So then you can focus on July 4th and completely dedicate yourself to getting prepared for that holiday versus here comes July 3rd and you're like, I didn't get anything posted.
Yeah. A lot of times in the group, someone will post something that maybe it hasn't been done before. And Hamburger cookies have been done, so I'm just going to pick on those. But hamburger cookies come around each year.
To describe what Corey's saying, it's a stack. If you don't know what she's saying, or you're like, I do cheesecakes, Greg, it's this stack of cookies that when stacked together look like a complete burger, but they're all sugar cookies. It's so cute.
But each year that comes around, and I see people scrambling, like, I wasn't going to add this, but now I'm adding it to my thing. I'm going to buy all the little burger baskets, the little insert tissue paper thing. And you know what? A lot of times life can get in the way, and you don't get the samples out. You don't make the sales. Now you're stuck with that stuff.
Why does nobody make a hot dog version of it? I think it'd be cute with a
bun. Just 3?
No, and then you can make a cheese.
Girl,
a ketchup squiggle?
You see the squiggles? Those will break.
You make them hard. I know you know how to make a hard cookie.
No hard cookies for you.
This is Corey. Did you bring over the dad cookies?
Oh, Nate said they were way too hard.
He's like, I couldn't do any of that. We'll take photos for social media, but in which case they don't need to be fresh. She just lets them harden up and then forgets about them. But then she'll bring them over here, and I'm like, trying to eat this cookie. It's me and my tooth enamel fighting.
We don't waste the crumb cookies.
So what are your tips, Corey? If you give me 3 tips to not feel overwhelmed in marketing as it comes, as it applies to a bakery, what would you recommend?
Think what I can feasibly do. Do I love when people have VIP groups for their Facebook businesses? Absolutely. Can I handle that right now? Absolutely not. So while I don't have one, I love giving you the tips to utilize your words and make it awesome for your business. Am I doing it for mine right now? No. It's in my back pocket if I ever feel the need, though. So really focus on what you can utilize your time with the most. Groups are hard to grow.
Right. And on that note, I like this one. When we onboard a client for the day job marketing, we'll park every social platform just to reserve their name, but that doesn't mean that we actually will have them be active on it. Be active where you can be present consistently. If you're not big into Twitter, you can park the name, the handle, and then never log into it again. That means it's not active. You're not directing your traffic there. Nobody can take it from you, but you don't need to feel bad that it is just a parked.
Tell people before they feel like they need to run to Twitter and park something, why we would park a social profile. And there's just a few reasons.
Well, I think we can point at ourselves as a reason that we should have. Sugar Cookie Marketing on Instagram is actually Sugar Cookie Marketing _. Why? Because somebody parked Sugar Cookie Marketing. I don't think they've ever logged in. They never got my $100 offer.
LinkedIn too.
Yeah, and we can't reserve those handles. So we have a little bit not ideal redirection to tell people, follow us on Instagram, Sugar Cookie Marketing _. And we can kind of help guide people with branding, the bright pink or whatever. Mm-hmm. But in a perfect world, if you're building this business, park those handles on Twitter, LinkedIn company pages, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok.
Another reason you would want to park them is because let's just say you're perfect, but one time you mess up and someone gets food poisoning from your cookies and they have you in their line of sight and they're going to take your business down. If you don't necessarily have your Twitter parked, they can create a Twitter that matches your name and start talking as if they are you and ruin you that way.
I'm the crumble cookies and I make really hard cookies. So what we do is probably park those. Again, don't have time to park those. Don't worry about it. It's not going to be a game ender than Corey painted.
Why did we give them more work when we were trying to take work away from them?
Well, because I do agree that it's
I do. It only takes a little bit of time to park.
But don't be, if you say, hey girls, I just don't have time for TikTok. I get that it could fill up my calendar. I get that reels are it. But if you don't have the time or it's not supporting your goal,
skip it.
Cut it out.
Absolutely.
You can come back to it later. Marketing is always available.
Yes, I 100% agree. What's another way that they could get a goal and sponsor that goal with their time and their energy?
I hate to say it, but every week on Sunday, I sit down and I reread my goals.
I see.
That way
I get an alert. Heather is doing some asanaing. Delete.
I sit down every Sunday and spend about an hour and a half going through what my goals are, cleaning up my to-do list, making sure my calendar aligns with my to-do list so that nothing surprises me. And then I reassess, is everything supporting that goal? A lot of times, especially around New Year's, we like to come up with a list of 10 things we plan to do, and then we throw that list away in our minds.
Yeah.
And we're like, set it and forget it. It is not whatever that turkey baster infomercial was. You have to really reassess your goals, reassess how you're supporting your goals. And I have to recommend doing it each week. If that requires keeping a little Word doc on your desktop.
Something easy for you. If you're a pen and paper type person, pen and paper. If you're Asana, Heather.
Just keep in mind, you can't lose that paper. We have to keep our goals front of mind. Top of mind awareness is what they call it in like marketing.
Also, you might have just heard Heather and be like, an hour and a half? Where do you get that kind of time? Here's the thing. I know for a fact Heather has uninstalled TikTok on her phone.
She
did not have an hour and a half, but she created an hour and a half. I know I love, right now my guilty pleasure is watching Frasier on Hulu.
I love Frasier.
I know. I was watching, I was like, I've seen
If we were Frasier and Niles, which one of us would be Frasier and which one of us would be Niles?
Niles. You would be. Yeah. I don't know. Sometimes it's so funny.
Yeah.
But that's my guilty pleasure. If I wanted to, I could set an alarm on my phone and give myself 20 minutes. 20 minutes of Frasier. That's fine. But if you know me, this past weekend I watched the entire season of Stranger Things.
Oh, really? There's you and Jay. He was out there watching.
Hey, it was so good. It was the best one yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, here's what I would like to say. It sounds very boring what Corrie just described my weekends as.
It is. She's boring.
An hour. But here's what I get to do as well. The flip side of using Asana or project management software, Todoist is a very cool one. Hey, you could use it in Google Sheets if you really wanted to. Microsoft has a nice one. Did you keep using that one?
Yeah.
So what I get to do is when I'm done with my tasks, I don't have to have any little monster sitting on my shoulder, breathing down my neck saying, you should be working on this. Because everything that I was supposed to do to support my goals was done. And now I can completely check out. It's the same way of like you create a budget. Like I have $300 I'm going to spend on a nice new purse or something. Then you go there and it's $270. You're like, I charge it, man. I budgeted for this. I don't feel bad about it at all.
So Heather can go into watching Frasier with complete
disregard for anybody else.
Because she's gotten things done. A lot of times what I do when I'm going into Frasier, it's in the back of my mind. And then I can't really enjoy the moment because I'm still stuck like,
you know that feeling like around tax day?
Yes.
That's from April 1st to April 15th, that little monster of breathing down.
Me and Heather love to wait to the last minute to do taxes.
It really is the saddest day of my year. But what happens is when I say, okay, I'm going to get my tax. Corrie and I went on a beach trip on the tax day.
Yeah, weird.
So we said, hey, you can either spend the whole beach trip with a little monster sitting on your shoulder saying, Turbo Tax Login, you remember it. Or you can get it done before you leave and have an absolutely awesome beach trip. And because we were both forced to get it done before we leave, in the name of relaxation, the beach trip was considerably more enjoyable. So when I support my goal, filter out everything that doesn't support that goal, and then dedicate my days to getting that stuff done, my weekends or my after hours are just chef's kiss of relaxation.
And do you notice here that she's not giving up the things that she loves and just a workhorse 24/7? She is getting the things out of the way so that she can enjoy watching Frasier, going on these trips that she hadn't had to have to the Indianapolis 500, trips to the Fairfax County Courthouse that she loves to go to.
It's my favorite vacation destination.
All inclusive. She's got, bring it to the road. She gets the best of both worlds, and we're not wanting you to give up your fun times in life because that's no life to live.
What I've heard this quote or like this phrase that whatever the current generation of kids is called, Gen Z,
what is
Gen
it?
X, Gen Millennial.
That's what they're called?
Generation Y. I don't know. Whatever these people are that are coming up underneath
Okay.
They say, my life is my full-time job and my job is my side hustle. And that way they can really focus on, and I appreciate it. I think we were raised in this like work, 9 to 5, 40 hours, 80 hours. It's fine.
It's like 9 to 5. What job you got?
What job? I have that time tracker. We're not putting in 9 to 5. If I consider myself active working hours where I'm not, we bought FIBA house. Charging her a 30-year fix at 5.4. But no, I bought Phoebe this little scratchy house, and she's obsessed. But it's also causing her a lot of movement.
You'll have to post it in the group for them to see it.
I have to get her in it. But yeah, what we can do is really work on our goals so that they support the true overarching goal is a great life.
Yes.
A life that we can enjoy.
A fulfilled life. And it's a well-balanced life. It's not too much one way.
Exactly. So at the end of the day, when we say market, on the other side, the end of the sentence is so you don't have to do anything.
So you don't have to market. Just kidding.
The goal of marketing is that you don't market. But yeah, so filter out, use those filters and really focus on, I like a project management software. Asana is paid, or there might be some free. Oh, there's a free plan on it. Alondra taught a Facebook Live on it. Susan Shepard taught a free Facebook Live on it. It has single-handedly, when married to that Eat That Frog book, completely changed the way my work and home life balances.
Do you get like a sponsored by them or something? Because I feel like you mention
please
them all
sponsor
the time.
me. Edible Arrangements, you do.
Another,
Tom Cruise?
Come on. Hey, she wants to be sponsored as in marriage. Another way you can kind of work for yourself
This
is
will be tip 3, right? I got to write this in
tip
an
number
email
3.
after.
I know, we kind of like married all the tips together. Another thing is go into your calendar and book some time off right now. Do it. Just go do it. And those blackout days are days that you will not be working on orders.
I agree. Book drier than your cookies after sitting outside for 2 weeks. All that. Things That Matter. Mm-hmm. It was by Josh Becker, the minimalist guy. Towards the end, he says, when you go on vacation, the point of a vacation is to recharge. But you can't recharge if you're working. So you have to work in a way that vacation is like a sanctity of no work allowed. Mm-hmm. You can completely focus. And then, yes, it is a little stressful. And it's because we have an addiction to work. It's stressful to be like, but people are emailing me. Hey, send an away message. They won't pass away. They will. Everyone will be okay. The only people who need to call you or text you on your vacation is either Navy Federal letting you know to slow down a bit.
Oh, that's random.
Or, an emergency point of contact.
Yeah.
Your business will be fine if you set the expectations and communicate. And like we say, worst case, somebody leaves you a bad review, get more good reviews.
Yeah, and we will help you work through a bad review if that's what you get. It's
but
not the end of the
enjoy
world. your vacation or staycation. And I hate when people do staycations and they decide to work on it. And they're like, no, but I'm choosing to. No, I'm choosing for you to not do.
Yeah,
just because you are home doesn't mean that you should be working on those times. That's time for you to recharge. Gotten into gardening. For some odd reason, I really got a green thumb, man.
You can help Gams because she's got a green thumb for weeds.
I got a green
Those weeds are thriving.
I know. You really have to go in there and de-weed the lawn from the base of the root. You can't just be pulling the top of them in. But those times off, and you need to take them because working every day ain't no fun.
You know what I've noticed, and I said this, being your own business owner, running your own business means that you don't get to turn off as much. But I think that's a lie. I think that's a fallacy. I think you can turn off.
As Heather goes sees Tom Cruise for the 3rd time today.
I know where I like to spend my downtime. That said, when it comes down to it, is really turn off. You know what I did? Corrie mentioned I went to Indy. I did go to Indy. I usually bring a laptop as like a just-in-case scenario, like just in case I need to, access Photoshop.
Did you leave me hanging?
I did. I didn't bring a laptop. I didn't even bring an iPad. I didn't bring anything other than my phone, so I could keep in communication with Corrie, which was mostly work-related, but I didn't have the option to work. It's the same way.
I didn't know I was carrying everything on my back.
Absolutely. I added it to your calendar, Heather out of town, and that was it. But it's really practicing setting your own boundaries. So, you work these day jobs, you work these employment jobs, which are awesome, because I thought, like, at the end of the day, I can't take my computer home. I worked for a government contractor. You weren't allowed to.
Yeah.
So it wasn't allowed to work, and I'm like, I'm home. You can do that as a business owner, but you are the boss that has to turn off your phone.
Yeah.
You are the boss that has to make sure your away message on Facebook is set up, your vacation messages on Gmail, your job form has blackout dates where you're not accepting orders. You are the leader of your own destiny. What is that? I'm slaughtering that phrase.
I like whatever it is, though.
Yeah, you can choose it. It's a choose your own adventure, and guess what? You're turning the pages.
Yeah.
But you can't look around and be like, I'm exhausted. You're exhausted because you allowed yourself to be.
Mm-hmm. So we want you to guard your time and guard your goals. Sit down today while you're listening to this podcast and come up with 5 or 10, or do the Eat the Frog one, come up with the big O one. And then do things that support those goals and things that you hear. It's great to always know what's coming into the market. Like if Instagram's new rollout this morning was awesome, but it's just to have that in your back pocket. But don't use it against you to self-sabotage. We want you to be happy in your marketing. We want everything to support your goals. Don't want you to feel bad when you listen to the podcast, but we got to put a podcast out each week, which we could talk about last week's topic, but our views are going to go.
What was last week's topic?
I can't remember.
Oh, it was a list because I had to send it in an email.
A list. See? Do you see? We're not even listening to our own.
I got it written down. It was on the move. Things to do before.
I moved. We actually have a great thing that I'm working on now. dealing with that move. We saw a little gap in the market.
I think that'll turn into a great podcast lesson for you guys if we can play this.
We can. So we're in the testing phase now, so I'm not going to say it in case it falls flat on its face.
It will require, again, work. And at the end of the day, if it doesn't fit your goal, you can skip that podcast. You can listen to me laugh at Corrie for an hour straight and be like, cool, I'm not going to take any actions for this one, but I'm also going to choose not to feel bad about not taking any actions.
For a long time, I did not get on the TikTok and Reel train because I did not have a good setup for it. Just recently have I been able to figure out a good setup and good filming. But look how far past Reels starting, and now that I'm doing Reels has the time gone. Mm-hmm. But guess what? I'm jumping on board.
When it supports your goals. Now Corey's like, hey, I want to do an active Instagram growth strategy. Cool. Now that can enter stage right.
Yeah.
Moving forward, we have a phone number. Apparently, all of you forgot except for one beautiful person from the 281 area code. It is 571-556-5644. You can text in or call in your questions. I didn't have any calls. I'm going to assume 500 of you called in, and I just can't access
They got
them.
the busy signal, and it was that.
You know, it's crazy how just the phone is constantly ringing. But just kidding. Here's one. Just following directions. So here's my AMA for Corrie.
Oh, my goodness. Wait, we got just one question?
If a genie granted you 3 wishes, what would you wish for? Standard wish rules apply.
Oh, because I was going to say 2 more wishes.
This is a good question.
That's such
281.
This is a good question. Okay, 281, without giving it the proper amount of time that it probably should have to think.
Jeannie said, I got to go. I have my own boundaries, and I'm off as soon as your third wish is granted. So let me know what they are.
$1 bazillion.
Oh, my God. People want to know more interesting stuff, 5-year-old Corrie.
I am who I am. What's something that I wanted to
You probably get a second fuzz, but his hair never sheds.
Oh, yeah. Yes. I have this cute cat. He is supposed to just be a walking cotton ball. But his hair gets so long, we end up having to shave him. He looks like a mushroom right now.
He looks like he's not from this planet.
Someone would say my neighbor was outside on her deck, and my Fuzz was just staring her down, like uncomfortably. So put his little mushroom head through and just staring at her. She's like, your cat's so unique. I said, that is very kind of you to say. There's a lot of words that you could say.
Yeah, okay. So he gets very matted, and he doesn't like being brushed, so they have to go to the shave once a year. Okay. Anyways, he's in the regrowth stage.
He's in the regrowth. My gas tank to never empty.
Oh, yeah. I had $4.89 yesterday at the cheap gas station.
Wait, $4.89 was the cheapest?
For regular.
When I was driving Arch up to his dad's, it was $5.27. Of course,
well, that's wild. Okay, you still put premium in?
It's a brand new car.
Have you put any regular test
in this guy?
Yeah.
No, man.
Not one time. Gams then came off her high horse and gone to
She was test. For years she would.
Because every 4th one, I've talked to a mechanic. He said, if you put low grade, 89, 87 in your car, every 4th one you can spring for the high grade. He said, but if you're not hearing any knocking noises in the engine, you're pretty much okay. Your car is like, we're good. And just so you know, me and your car is the same guy, and mine's been chugging on low test for about 10 years.
I actually, for my old car, only put in low test, and it was totally fine. Yeah. Granted, the wheels fell off.
At 580, you're not even considering coming down off that high horse?
I'm considering never leaving the house. Okay. My final thing is for icing colors to mix itself. I would save so much time, headache, and they'd be the perfect colors every time. No bubbles.
You know, why doesn't somebody take that technology? I saw like Lancome or one of the expensive makeup lipstick. Yeah. You could just type into the app the color you wanted, and it like created it.
Can I buy it?
So
Eddie, calling all Eddie people.
Primary technology. Do you have any bandwidth to take on a new project? Forget the goal setting.
We want mixed items.
So that's a good one. That is a good one. Okay, on to the group stuff. We've just finished up our Susan Reed Facebook Live, but we have some events coming up.
Facebook Live, or was it
it was lively
collaboration? It was great.
Someone is starting to get spam messages with the same context from a Zachary. I said it's called Zachareed.
Zachareed, that's hilarious.
Here is on Thursday, and this is a Facebook Live I'm excited for if you're into business finances. It's called YNAB. You Need a Budget. It's an acronym for an app that I've actually used for the last year and a half. The app claims in the first 35 free days of usage, it gives you 35-day free trial, you'll save $600.
That's for the personal one. Like if you use it for your personal life.
Yeah, so you can use it for personal life or business life. Yeah. And Ben Barlow from YNAB, You Need a Budget, is going to teach us how to use the YNAB method of every dollar has a job. to finance our businesses and save for that Eddie without flying blind.
Yeah, and he said, based on the questions that people asked during his live, he doesn't want to abandon us after he does the live. He said, I would like to come back and be able to answer those questions, especially if they're repetitive, to give people tips and tricks, because he's taught Fidelity Investments how to YNAB. So,
oh, look.
what was that? Someone like the pig.
Okay,
I
have
like
a
it
little
anymore.
confession. I have no idea. I have a little confession. Corrie lives in a hoarding scenario, right? Of crap for photography.
Of things I love.
When she first moved into her old townhome, she said, there's so much space here. There's no way I can use it all. And I was living in an apartment. I said, do you mind if I drop off some things? She said, absolutely.
I said, what could I can't, this whole basement, there's no way I could fill
But
it.
over the years, as my little back of the cubby hole has been guarded by more of her crappy-oli. And this one thing that we had bought for work years ago is called a Smurl counter.
SMIRL.
Yeah, it has 2 I's in it. Don't know why. It's a French company. But it counts live when people like or unlike the Facebook page. So finally, Corrie had to move. So the cubby holes hoard was moved out of the way. And I got reunited with this Smurl.
This is honestly, okay, it's very
It's an analog counter. That's what you're hearing.
It's very expensive, unfortunately, but it's really cool, especially if you were doing either pop-ups or you're doing farmers markets, because you can ask people to like the page.
Requirement is you have to have a Wi-Fi.
Oh, could you do a hotspot?
I'm not sure, probably.
Okay, so maybe. But you can ask people, this is great for brick and mortar too, where you have just Wi-Fi. Yeah, that's what it was made for. But you can ask them to like the page. And
they can see the counter go up. So we did a live stream of it in the group. I should do another one.
Yeah, you should, especially now that you have the give it a few days, let people listen, and then you can do it.
But yeah, the analog counter like shocks and frightens me every day as we sit here. So that's what you're hearing. But back to the Facebook Lives. That YNAB Live, You Need a Budget acronym, is on Thursday at 1:30. Definitely. Even from a personal standpoint, if it supports your goals, take that one. Or catch the replay.
Yeah, if you like to be like me, I like to spend frivolously and no one to tell you no.
Of the 2 twins, okay, our older sister works for YNAB. That's how I heard about it. She tells everyone in the family to use it. Corrie doesn't. I do. I think it's changed my life, but Corrie refuses to.
But you know that I've always been good at budgeting. You know.
But do you know Are you saving for something? Because you said I'm spending like it's going out of style yesterday.
That's because I moved and needed new furniture, you old weirdo. Yeah, you said my couch was ugly. I needed new couches. I did get my husband a Weber grill and broke that bad boy out last night.
I don't think anyone understood what you just said.
Got a Weber grill for my husband. And for my hubby. And we ended up using it last night. We had burgers. They were delicious. And guys, you have to be the hype man. Even if it wasn't the best burger on the planet, if you hype it up, they'll make you more burgers. And I don't like cooking. So anything you make is the best thing I've ever had.
If you've ever read How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, great book. Probably the one book
Me and Heather have read it. How many times?
It's burned to my car. So the next person who gets that car, I'm going to leave it on. So they can be like,
you need this.
But in the book, he has an example of a janitor who was underperforming so much that they were going to fire him. But the guy that was his employer said, I don't necessarily want to fire him. I think he has potential. But how do you not fire someone who's doing nothing right? So when he goes downstairs and he looks at the guy, cleaned up the basement, did a terrible job, but says, wow, thank you so much. This looks great. And the guy suddenly took pride in what he was doing. He had never been told that he was great, so he never tried.
Yeah.
So he said the more that the guy played into the, hey, great, the more the guy tried, which allowed him to compliment him more until he was one of the best janitors.
Yeah. And you know, I did the same type of thing with my son, Archer. Math is truly his toughest subject.
Kill his hell.
And I can't even help him because it was my worst subject of all time. But when Archer...
A squared plus B squared is I got a C squared.
I got an F squared. When Arch came home, he would be like, I'm the worst at math. I said, hey, did you try your hardest? Yeah, I really tried. Then this, to me, even though it's an 85, is 100. That is what it is. Guess what? Arch got one of the highest grade point averages in math this year. He actually cleared up and got almost every award.
Yeah, so it's really kind of, and if you have a difficult client, it actually works to be like, hey, thank you so much for being so easy to work with. And I'm not saying lie to them, but I'm saying a lot of times they're difficult because they are saying, why does nobody appreciate me? So back to Corrie manipulating her husband to get burgers. It works.
It works.
Next up is, actually I have a Facebook Live this minute. I got to add it on Cookie, I think it was Cookie Trailer or Cookie Carts. I think it was a Cookie Cart tour.
Oh, I think they're so
cute. Setting up a Zola account to get wedding orders with Jessica Wolf is on Monday, June 13th. If you don't know what Zola is, it is a wedding platform for people to hire wedding vendors. And you can set yourself up as a cookie vendor. A lot of people have had a lot of success with it. There is a free and then there is a paid component once you go through the free component.
Yes.
But she's going to tell us how to set that up. The Business of Mental Health with Emily Smith. Now, she is a licensed psychotherapist. Am I saying that right?
You always ask. I don't know.
She is licensed to teach this, and she said, would people be interested to know what happens at the intersection of business and mental health? I said, not only would be interested, they're going to love it. So that'll be on Saturday, June 18th at 3 p.m. And then we have Christmas in July, Gingerbread Houses with Heather, and that is in July. So if you say, hey, my goal in December is to offer cookie classes and gingerbread houses, you're going to want to add that. If that's not your goal, Heather won't be offended if you don't watch her Facebook Live, because we're here not to overwhelm you. We're here to give you access to goal-setting, supporting content. But it's up to you. We can't filter that out for you.
We can't. We cannot.
We can only keep pushing this podcast out. But you guys see, our job is to keep providing content that makes you feel stressed that you're not doing it.
Welcome.
Okay, moving on to our podcast sponsors. Cast Iron has offered something very radically new, and I think it's a really cool feature.
Lay it on me.
You can invoice. You can send out invoices before the customer places an order, very similar to what you can do with Square. And it's basically their way of saying, hey guys, we're listening. We know you want to do this. We're now offering this feature. That feature should be out right now. So if you're interested in a Cast Iron website, it's free. They only take commission on sales, meaning if you make no sales, it costs you nothing. Especially if you're just getting your toe wet, wanting to figure out websites. It's a great $0 risk way to really figure out what a website entails and how it can garner you actually more sales. Again, if you're too busy to set up a website, they'll actually do it for you. So it's a great way to get that website with actually not having to stress about it.
Yeah.
No little monster sitting on the back saying, your website.
No monsters at
You can
all.
go check them out at castiron.me. So not .com, it's .me.
Next up is Bakety Bake, which is a meringue powder. Okay, I said that wrong. It's Royal Batch, which is a meringue powder by Bakety Bake. For a long time, me and Heather called it Bakety Bake, but that was just the brand name. The actual product is called Royal Batch, and it is an awesome meringue powder. I now just use it exclusively. It has helped me. I actually started doing the recipe on the back of the bag, and it has helped me to eliminate color bleed, which has been my arch nemesis for as long as I have been baking. Heather would know. I have cried to her many times. So I used the recipe on the back of the bag. I didn't add anything. Typically in the past I would add corn syrup and things, but the Courtney, who owns the product and the brand, said, hey, you don't need to add anything. It already has corn syrup, white food coloring, and vanilla extract in there. So all you got to do is whip it up and make it and use it. So I follow now the recipe on the bag, and it's been kind of a game changer for me. I did a lot of dark pinks this past week, and I had to do it in record time because I waited till the last minute because I was procrastinating. And I was able to kind of really work super fast and eliminate color bleed, which was awesome for me.
Did you have any feedback on the white marker thing?
I have not busted it open yet, but I found it in my hoard.
That was a feat. Okay, that is great. Thank you so much to the sponsors for keeping the podcast
never said
free.
Eduardo.
I'm sorry.
I was
cheating on him with Tom Cruise today.
Like a volleyball player.
Eduardo, you're never far from my heart or my mind. Primera Technology, who we referenced earlier, created a really cool printer. And when I say printer, you're going to think printing on... No. It prints on food.
But it looks like an actual printer.
It looks like a printer, except for when it fires up, it looks like it's from SpaceX dropped it off in the last delivery from the ISS.
Yes.
So the Eddie printer, Eddie is the name of the printer, and we lovingly call him the name of my husband. Eddie direct-to-food prints with FDA-approved ink, meaning it's edible ink, and you're completely fine ingesting it. But the way this thing prints, it prints on cookies.
It looks like it's printing on a piece of paper.
If it sounds insane, it's only because it is. And you can join the Eddie Printers user group to learn more about Eddie. He ain't cheap, but none of the good men are. And that's why joining that YNAB budgeting app will allow you to really look ahead at your finances and start that Eddie budget.
Yeah, the Eddie budget. So you can buy him without
that anxiety when you buy something.
Saying like, can I buy this off?
Right. I know. I've allocated towards it. YNAB has been a great tool in allowing me to just be like, yeah, charge it. I budgeted for this. I've waited long enough. So yeah, if you want to check out Eddie Printer Users Group, I think that's what it's called. Definitely look up Eddie Primera. YouTube, we have a YouTube video about it. It's like the only YouTube video people watch.
Yes.
Over and over again. It's floating the whole channel.
I don't know how you're doing this podcast today, but you also skip course coverage, but whatever.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Let's go back.
Yes.
Let's go back. So Corrie and I have have a membership platform. I say membership because it's not a single course. It's not a bunch of courses. It's a course. It's a bunch of courses. It's a private Facebook group. It's a private podcast. It's photo freebies. It's a lot. And it's called the Cookie College. You can learn more about it and sign up for it at thecookiecollege.com. Now, I'm going to challenge everybody, and you heard me say this. We're going through, a weird economic correction. I wouldn't say the word recession, but we're going to see a shift in the way that people are spending money. What's is going to be a temptation is to step back from your cookie business. Cool. If that is, it's because you didn't really need it. It's because it's whatever. It's fine. But what you're going to see is if you don't step back, a lot of your competitors will. The same way that the competitors entered when it was a real easy license to print money. Now, if you double down on really optimizing your business in the next couple months, when the holiday season hits, which is absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
You're going to be able to be above the people that will be re-entering the market then. That's how business works. And the Cookie College is here to help you get from where you are now to where you go then. And what we hear in the Cookie College as well is it's overwhelming. There's so much content I can learn.
We're here to overwhelm you guys.
In fact, in the Cookie College, I'm taking people through a workshop course for the Eat That Frog book, so we can help you figure out what your goal is, what classes you have to take, what classes you want to take, and what classes you can take, and then just help you really dig in so that you cannot be overwhelmed, but really reach that goal, whatever that goal is that moves you forward the most.
Yeah, and the great thing about these courses, it's not us just saying you need to be on TikTok. No, it's us taking you step by step by step by step on how to set up your TikTok account. We have one from Tanya Clowers has over 104,000 followers on her TikTok based off of cookies. And I see her customers like, I saw you on Saturday in the comments section. And she is teaching a class on how to make TikToks and what has worked for her, what has not worked for her. Because why recreate the wheel when she's willing to tell us? For photography staging, how to edit in Lightroom, the paid version, and then the free mobile version, because we're all about saving money. So if you want to go either direction, it is there for you. Heather takes you through custom domain emails, which is awesome. Someone had just asked about that in the group this morning. How to make it. Should I do the crumb cookies at gmail.com or is more professional look?
It is more professional. Whatever your opinion is, it is more professional to have a custom email when emailing from a business. I always see these trucks that probably cost $100,000 on the road, and you have all this branding, and then the email is electricianva1122@netscapenavigator.com. And you're like, oh, wow, all that money for that old email. So it is one of those awesome little features. It's easier than you think. And in the Cookie College, I walk you through how to do it. We have many people using custom emails. I'm a believer. You've never set them up. I set them up first.
Heather set it up for me. Get you step one of the
I'd
Cookie
love
College.
to see you in an MX record.
Get you a Heather.
So if you want to learn more about the Cookie College, you can check it out at thecookiecollege.com. Or you know what? Let the people speak. You can ask about it in the main group. And if people say it's crap diddly, I'm going to close my eyes and cry. But I think you'll see a lot of people have seen a lot of great results from implementing those types of things. But I'm going to challenge you, don't go to the Cookie College unless you have a goal that you're trying to support.
Amen.
Yeah, I'd rather you keep your money than add something else to your list that you're not going to use. But if you're really here to make your business what you want it to be, and focus as a primary business is your life and your business is your side hustle, then the Cookie College is a great fit for you.
Yes. Do you have a twin twist?
I was thinking about it. Okay, you know what? I started this workout program. I'm going to tell you the name. It's called Booty by Brett.
By Brett?
Brett.
Or Britt?
Brett Contreras.
Like a Brett?
His name is Brett.
Okay.
Booty by Brett. The man's like, hey, my name starts with a B. Girl, it's a female focus program. There's men that take it as well. It's $29 a month, and each 5 days a week you get certain exercises that are pretty easy to do. You don't have to go 5 days. It's actually a 3-day-a-week program, but if you wanted to push yourself, you could. But it's only 6 exercises, and they're all kind of well grouped versus that whole like run around the gym and do 50 weird things.
Yeah, I don't want to.
This is like go to the squat rack, go to the bench press. Go
do you need a gym membership?
Here's the thing, though. He has 3 variations of each exercise. If you have a gym membership, if you have only access to weights, and if you have access to neither weights nor a gym membership.
So, like, if you're working out from home because life's too busy.
And it's, like, considerably more reps, but...
to get to the same as if you had a gym.
So what might be, 8 3x8 squats in the
Yes.
squat rack. This one would be body weight squats, but you're looking at 40 or sets.
Interesting.
Yeah, so he kind of really thought it's bootybybrett.com. I make no money. It's $29 a month, but you get a private Facebook group where you can check your form and stuff like that. It's not, if you're a cardio bunny, it's not cut out for you. They have actually very little cardio in that program, but if you're here to put on muscle, it's one of those ones. It does not deal with nutrients, so it's not a diet plan. It's just a workout plan.
Hey, don't tell me how to eat.
Don't tell me what to eat. I'm going to go to Nothing Bundt Cakes. That Booty by Brett. So anyways, I've been doing that for, this would be my third month. So every month they come out with a new program with a new set of workouts, and you repeat the week 4 times.
Okay.
And then you get a new one the next month.
And what do you say? 10 of 10 will do again?
You can pick, like, they said, like, it's a 4-week program, but some people really like the set, so they'll extend it to 6 weeks, but you have access to it every month, the new set.
So would you recommend it?
I actually really do like it. I think I'll stick with this one.
Okay. Yeah, sometimes I go to the gym, I just flail.
And flailing is like, like I went there, I
know.
did the hard
Sometimes
part
I
of
don't
getting
feel
there.
like accomplished when I leave, but I'm like, I just drove 10 minutes.
Right. So at least his program, and it's not really long. I think I can get most of it done in an hour or less.
Okay.
And then if you just really knock it out, it's nothing like he's not making you do 50 squats. It's almost, yesterday was 3 sets of 5, pause at the bottom for 3 seconds. Okay. So 5 squats is like, now, and I only had 25 on each side, which sounds like nothing, but when that pause at the bottom,
you're
going to say, I'm not sure I'm coming up.
Against gravity.
Yeah. So I think that it's a very unique approach to very basic things.
I like that.
Oh, any yours?
I only went to Nothing Bundt Cakes yesterday, speaking of the polar opposite. And
Booty by Bundt.
They came out with confetti. Okay, you can get buntinis. If you don't know what Nothing Bundt Cakes is, it's Bundt Cakes. Yeah, it's franchised.
They're so moist. And they say that they're moist because of the way the Bundt cake is made with the hole in the middle.
Yeah, and it's got this like thick cream cheese on top, like cream cheese icing.
It's not cream cheese. It's cream cheese ice.
Yeah.
Oh
so you got sugar. It's so, I couldn't even describe it.
I can pack one away.
Oh, Heather
probably
packed one away in like, and my mom commented like, you ate that very
fast. I said,
fast.
hey, you were eating your Bundt cake. I mean,
but they have so many different flavors. So they had snickerdoodle when I was there yesterday, confetti, vanilla. Those are my 3
they
go-tos.
have a gluten-free option.
They do. You can get buntinis, which are tiny
little tiny ones.
Yeah, those are buntini.
I'm not saying that these are going to help your diet, but I'm going to say there are fewer calories than you think for how delicious they are.
And then you can get a Bundt cake. So it's a full-size cake that could feed a party.
It's a birthday.
Yeah, and you can get it themed out. So he said it's about $10 extra to get like themed out so that you can do it themed out for Father's Day or whatever.
They're so good.
So good.
They're so good.
It's just so good. And before someone says, support local, it is a local person who franchises it.
The man behind it, the man that owns this franchise up here is very passionate about Bundt cakes.
So one is actually coming right to my new neighborhood.
Dangerous
jump.
proximity. Okay, I think that takes us through the
I don't know. We totally wung it this time, even though you gave us like an itinerary at the front. You said, never mind. Gonna just fly blind.
Sometimes my brain is like, yeah, just whatever's there. Just say the thing that you want to say next.
Say the thing. So keep in mind, support your 5 goals. Don't feel bad if you skip something. We sure don't, obviously. The podcast itinerary.
You should see the things that I'm like, I'm going to do that. Not now. Not later. Never, but I'm going to say it. And I don't feel bad. You can have, just really support your goals. And at the end of the day, when you've done the things to support that goal, sit back, breathe deep, and go watch you some Frasier with a Nothing Bundt cake right in front of you. That's what we're working for. Okay, guys, we'll see you at the same time or later next week.